Hello, this is Ms. Rubio again. I'm going to be doing the fast etude. I have my metronome at 100, which is the top tempo. Okay, so a couple things. This one, stay with the metronome the entire time. Do not take any fun playthings with it. It needs to stay right with the metronome. Okay, so a couple things that I would like to go over. Staccato. Remember, staccato does not mean short. Staccato means light and detached. Now, if you noticed a couple of times, I played, I did a lot of staccato, but I did kind of have, not quite a legato tongue, but something kind of in between. Like looking at measure 22. Naturally, it's already a little bit, detached because I am going faster. But you don't want it to sound too much like a machine gun and like da 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 da. Not good, not good. So kind of find something in between and be comfortable. The tendency in measure 22, which I was already doing, is to rush a little bit. You really, really have to go through that and go through it slowly. A couple exercises that I like doing is when you take a note and you give it a little bit longer. So I'll kind of do the fast version of that. Obviously, you would want to go through that, and when I made the first note longer, you'd probably want to do that like 5 times. And when I made the second note longer, do that like 5 times. But that will really help get things under your fingers nice and clean, make it a little bit easier to go through it with the right articulation, which is very important. Speaking of articulation, articulation is always important. You always need to pay attention to it. I know that everybody really focuses on notes and rhythms at the beginning, and that's great. But you need to focus on articulation as well, because it's very hard to change the articulation if you've been doing it incorrectly at the beginning, to try and change it to do something correct later after you've already been playing it for like a month. It's hard. So please pay close attention, especially looking at measure 4. You got 1 theta 2, but the theta is slurred. We kind of went over this in summer band a little bit. Remember, a lot of us were wanting to tongue it da 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 da. Make sure you're tonguing that F, and that will really help you out. So dynamics, it's very clearly written what they want you to do, all right? You've got a lot of mezzo fortes, you've got forte and piano. Make everything dramatic. If that's one thing I love about oboes, is we're very dramatic. So, your pianos, very, very soft. Your fortes, big, booming. Your mezzo fortes, good in between. You can take a little bit, more, like especially where it has in measure, the second line, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're supposed to get up to forte. Generally, are you going to be at forte for 3 full measures? You could. Or you could kind of start bringing it down a little bit earlier, starting on like the G, which is what I personally like to do. Now, breath marks. It is totally possible to get through this whole thing on one breath, but do you want to do that? Absolutely not. So I took a breath after the half notes. Generally, just a good place to take a breath. But don't forget, especially when you're in the audition room, nerves get a moment to shine. So what generally happens is we take too big a breath, and then we have all this air left over at the end, right? I always say, like I said in the last one, have places to marked in where to breathe out if you need to, okay? Mark your breath marks in, even if you think like, oh, I'm never gonna not take a breath there. Do it anyways. Do it anyways. It'll help, especially when you're in the room and you get nervous and you're all of a sudden you're like, I don't know when to take a breath because I totally forgot because I'm really nervous. Take the breath, mark it in. It'll help you a lot. All right. Well, we're going to go on to scales now.